So the question is, should you supplement? I think any of you taking any of the medications that we talked about today should definitely consider supplementation. Now, if you're going to supplement, you should know a few things. One is look for this. Look for ubiquinol. And there's ubiquinone, which is another form of CoQ10, and it's not as readily absorbable. And so it's important that you look for ubiquinol if you're trying to get the best CoQ10 that will absorb the best and have an impact on your blood and on your tissue status of CoQ10. It's also important to understand if you've had your gallbladder removed. So if you've had gallbladder surgery, you're not going to absorb. It's going to reduce your absorption of CoQ10 and other fats as well. And so you might consider, especially if you're going to spend the money, because ubiquinol's not inexpensive. It's one of the more expensive supplements on the market. You might want to consider using something to support your bile. And so taking an actual bile supplement before eating fat or supplementing with CoQ10 or other fat-soluble vitamins is going to potentially help your body's ability to absorb those supplements better. So if you don't have a gallbladder, if you've been told you have fatty liver disease and your gallbladder is not working properly, maybe you still have it in you. This is just something also to consider. If you've got celiac or inflammatory bowel disease and your poop is clay or tan colored, that's an indicator that you're not absorbing fat properly. And so you probably have fat malabsorption. You might also look at digestive enzymes or bile supplements to aid in that process if you're going to take ubiquinol, because otherwise what you take supplementally may not be absorbed as efficiently or very well. And of course, because it is such an inexpensive supplement, you want to be aware of that. Now, a lot of the questions I get around supplementation, is it safe? Is there a contraindication? Should I or should I not take it? And here's what we know. There are no known contraindications for CoQ10. None. His treatment was found to be safe. Since side effects are rare, gastric discomfort was reported in less than 1% of patients and had an excellent safety record. Studies have identified CoQ10 as well tolerated and safe in humans, even at higher doses. No side effects are seen, even in persons having CoQ10 dosages. Look at this dose, 3,600 milligrams per day. Now, we've been talking about studies where they're doing 200 to 300 milligrams a day. And what they're saying here is 3,600 milligrams a day, no side effects, and in super high doses. So is it safe? Sure, it's safe. How many people are going to take 3,600 milligrams of CoQ10 a day? Almost no one, because it's cost prohibitive. To take that much a day, you'd be spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month just to get to that level if you're trying to take CoQ10 at that dose on a daily basis. So it would be cost prohibitive for most of you. Most of you, 200 to 300 milligrams a day is a pretty good therapeutic dose. We sometimes put people on as high as 600 milligrams a day clinically in my practice, but as a general rule of thumb, these doses have been shown to be pretty darn effective for a lot of situations. So safe to take. That's the bottom line. Now, so the question then is, should you take CoQ10 if you're not on those medications? CoQ10, as I've mentioned earlier, is one of the more expensive supplements, and I'm a fan of the test. Test, don't guess. So let's talk about how to determine CoQ10 levels. The determination of endogenous CoQ10 status is generally based on plasma measurements with an established reference range between 0.5 and 1.7. However, plasma CoQ10 status is influenced by both diet and your cholesterol levels, your lipoprotein levels. 25% coming from your diet. So if you ate a meal rich in CoQ10 yesterday, you might get plasma levels that are artificial, not artificially, but show up normal looking today. But if that diet wasn't consistent of what you typically eat, it's not going to be a great indicator for your long-term status. And so that's pretty much what they're saying here. You say, in view of the above limitations, the assessment of blood mononuclear CoQ10 status has been suggested as an alternative surrogate to determine endogenous CoQ10 levels in patients. The level of CoQ10 in mononuclear has been reported to correlate with the total amount of that, which is also in skeletal muscles, providing further support for the use of MNC as an appropriate surrogate to determine endogenous CoQ10. Well, what is an MNC? You've heard me say this a lot of times. You've heard me say white blood cell analysis, intracellular analysis, INA, white blood cells. That's what a mononuclear cell is. It's a type of white blood cell, and they're looking or measuring the CoQ10 inside of it. And so they're saying this could be a better way because it reflects more accurately the levels in muscle tissue. And so this is especially true if you have muscle pain or myalgia. But I'm a big fan of INA, intracellular nutrient analysis testing, because what the cell, you got to remember CoQ10 works in the cell. Specifically, it works in the membrane of the mitochondria, where it performs a lot of its functionality. And if you're measuring it in the blood, you don't know whether it made it from the blood into the cell. You're just measuring quantitatively how much is in the blood. But if you can measure what's actually in the cell, you get a more accurate representation of whether or not what you're eating is making it where it needs to make it so that it can function and perform its job. So intracellular analysis is my favorite way to look at it. You can ask your doctor to measure it in your plasma. Again, the reference range 0.5 to 1.7. But it may be misleading. You can get false negatives on plasma readings more frequently. So I'll just caution you about the potential for that to occur. So that being said, I recommend INA testing. If your doctor doesn't know what INA testing is, you can visit us at glutenfreesociety.org. And you can check it out. We offer INA testing there for people whose doctors will refuse to work with them. So that's just a resource that you can have to get your CoQ10 levels checked and measured. Okay, that does it for CoQ10. If you learned something new tonight, let me know. Chime in down below. Leave me a comment. If you've taken CoQ10 and you found it to be very helpful or improve your energy or improve your situation, share your story below. Your comment might help somebody else who's trying to justify whether or not to take CoQ10. Now, we'll say one other thing about it. As we mentioned before, CoQ10 is an expensive nutrient. You have to definitely make sure that you trust the company you're buying it from. A lot of CoQ10 on the market today is actually spiked with riboflavin, also known as vitamin B2. Now, there's a difference. So this CoQ10 is expensive. Riboflavin is not. It's very cheap, and so it's a great way for supplement manufacturers who are out to rob you or to be deceitful. The key is they're both very bright yellow. They both come out, when you look at the capsule, it's very, very bright yellow. It's very similar looking, and this is why this is commonly used in CoQ10 preparations, and this is a trick of the manufacturing industry. So you need to trust the company that you buy CoQ10 from. If you're just buying from some rando company, fly-by-night nutritional company, good luck to you. This is one of those, you're not going to get a deal on CoQ10. There are a lot of times you can get a deal on different supplements, but CoQ10, the ubiquinol particularly, is patented. It's very, very expensive to make. And so that reflects in its cost when you're trying to buy it online. So if you find a CoQ10 supplement that's like 50% less than other CoQ10 supplements, and you think it's too good to be true, it probably is. It's probably just spiked with riboflavin, and you're probably getting ripped off. So just keep that in mind. You know, you don't want to take something that's not going to work for you either, especially those of you that are on medicines and you're trying to get your CoQ10 levels up. And if you're trying to judge whether your CoQ10 levels are coming up, make sure you wait about 3 months. So once you start supplementing, wait about 3 months, get a baseline level, get your doctor to test your baseline level, supplement, wait 3 months, and then come back and reevaluate your baseline level. Or reevaluate your new level. And if your new level isn't higher than your baseline level, you're probably taking riboflavin and not CoQ10. So anyway, don't get tricked by the charlatans that are out there that are trying to make a buck off of you. That would be bad.